Hi, friend.
Hi, Maddie. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great.
Well, welcome y'all to this week's Reality Roundup episode, I think five of the challenge, and also episode five of the show.
Right, right, right.
It was an interesting one. I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Uh, Same. What did you think of the episode?
My top line thing was my top two things were I'm in love with CT as always, and I fucking hate Laurel. Oh, and I really
Did you
do not
did
like
you watch our
Laurel.
last episode?
I did not watch our last episode.
Dang,
Why did
Maddie. No, because I started beeping the swear words because you swore in
it?
in those two.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been trying so hard. Okay. My thoughts on this episode were two things. I love CT as always. And then I really just don't like, oh my God, my visceral dislike for Laurel reached a peak.
We'll get there. I
Um,
think it's the meat of the episode, but I actually came in here planning to run through all the points
mhm.
until we get to the points that are most significant for CT and Laurel. Like Laurel, I should say, and CT. So we start off this episode with a challenge barbecue. Cute little moment. A
Cute
cute
little
little
moment. It
moment.
was.
We did have Laurel and Cara playing pickleball in the back. Had CT on the
Yeah.
grill like a real uncle.
He was giving real uncle. That's my husband.
um, so I remember because I remember we've talked about Theo's eye injury a few times on here, and I just remembered Theo actually hurt his eye opening a champagne bottle. That's why there was that little scene in there of him talking about
Oh,
the
well,
proper
fair
way to
enough.
open a champagne bottle. So he like got hit in the eye with a cork, and it actually did like some major damage to his eye. He had to like I said, he had to walk around with an eye patch for some months.
Oh my
And I think he had to
gosh.
have
Was it
surgery
on
on
the
it.
show?
No, it was off the show. I think it was maybe at like a MTV party, like an after party or something. So it was like in at some event like related to the show, but it was off the show. And it was after he had like a really good season too, so and that's why we lost
Hmm.
him for a while because he had to heal up from that.
No, I'm glad his eye is
And
okay.
then we got a sinister brow out of it.
And again, and again, if the brow is a result of the injury,
I
we're
don't
sorry.
I don't know that it is, but I think he was trying a thing, but we don't know. What
I
did
love Count
you
Olaf.
what did you have here? I know we saw Cara and Laurel, like I said, and then I think we saw Devin and Michelle making out, but I think the only real like gameplay like specific thing that we saw Nehemiah because he knows he's a target this week. We saw
Hmm.
him sitting down with Devin trying to strike a deal of if Era 2 or Era
Yeah.
3 should win, that they should protect the others, and
Yeah,
Devin
it just
doesn't
didn't
take the
seem like it was
deal.
going. Yeah, it didn't seem like it was going very well. I broke my notes up into like I did last session. Actually like the sections of the show, so I'm very proud of myself for that. But it didn't seem like it was going very well. I will say just absolutely random. Well, two random things that are one is not going to mean anything to you, but it might mean something to a future audience. If for anybody who has seen Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Whitney and Laurel are the same. Whitney and Laurel are the same, and anyway. And then Johnny Bananas talking about having squirrel. That was very random to
That was
me. I was
super random.
like,
Oh,
what? Okay.
there were so this is like something that I didn't really think because he has that in a conversation where CT's asked. We have that confessional after CT asks them about love, but there were a few people talking about love. Like we get Devin talking about breaking his
Mm-hmm.
rule of not being in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship on the show.
Yeah.
And then other than the Nehemiah from like strategic talks, I should say before we get to the challenge, other than Nehemiah and Devin, which doesn't matter much now, but makes a point later. I do want to ask you: do you think Devin should have taken that deal? Like,
I don't think Nehemiah's deal was clear.
yes,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah.
So, like
Because you know I only do my one pass.
Nehemiah historically like doesn't really politic in this kind of a way. Like he
He
kind of
doesn't
gets
seem very
like,
good at it.
well, I don't know if he's good or bad, but I think historically he's just kind of stayed out of it. I think he came in on his first. Well, I don't remember his first season actually. I'll be honest with you, but so he just might not be good at it now because he doesn't typically do it. But he was doing this thing like just give him like a real deal. It was like I he was like everybody is looking out for their people, and could I count on you to do the same for me if
It
I
was
could
a
do?
whole lot of nothing.
It really was.
I was like,
Um,
okay, also he just wasn't good at presenting it either.
yes. I will say my only thing with this is as soon as I saw him like sitting down, I was like, why isn't Emily with you? Or why aren't you talking this with
Mm.
Emily? Like, go tell Emily because like your fates are like linked to each other, and like maybe she can do some more politicking for you. She knows that this is where you're going. Like, move with her in the same direction. But
It didn't
uh,
hit me that anything was weird about that until like Chambers, I think, or something, when Emily was like, I didn't know you were talking for me. Because I saw Devin wasn't with um Tori.
mhm.
And so I was just kind of like, oh, like they're just like it's a
Yeah.
little sidebar. So I honestly assumed that he was talking on behalf of
But
him and
like I
Emily.
think part of that is just like Devin and Tori, like if you see them in the season together, you know that like
They're
they're
together.
aligned. They're each other's like number ones and each other's ride or dies or as they say. But yeah, so
Side note, I forgot that and you've definitely told me this before, but when Tori said something about being on a team with her ex-fiance, I was like, wait, Jordan has to marry? But then I remember you had told me that.
I think we've talked about this on every
You absolutely have told me,
episode.
but I was surprised again. I was like, what?
All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is the Vacation Alliance. Um,
Oh, okay.
did you catch on to who was in the Vacation Alliance?
Um, I hold on, let me look at it. It seemed like Vacation Alliance was Josh, Devin,
Mhm.
Tori,
Mhm.
maybe Olivia.
Casey.
Oh, Casey.
Olivia's not a part of the. There was a bunch of people talking about, well, I'm not there, but I could be, and I was like, you're not in the
But
Vacation
then they
Alliance.
had that like weird conversation with John A where they were like,
You
but you
hosted us
hosted us in Austin or something. And I was
Nashville.
like, Nashville. And so I was like, is she part of the Vacation Alliance or
No,
not? Like that was
so the
confusing.
Vacation Alliance, it was the Big Brother people, and the people that used to hate the Big Brother people. So like Devin, who used to have like a notorious beef with Josh and like all of Big Brother, like the
Hmm.
Big Brother, like the key like Big Brother alliance, which is like Josh, Fessy, and Casey. It was those people, and then Devin and Tori, because I think Tori had kind of become close with Casey. So then that's how that beef got settled versus with Devin versus the Big Brother
Kylan too
people.
or no?
No, not Kylan. Kylan wasn't on the show yet. So the core
Okay.
Big Brother is just those three former Big Brother contestants: Josh, Casey, and Fessy, who's not on this season. And then they will sort of like interlope in like conspirators, other conspirators, like Amber B or Paulie or Bailey and Swaggy P. Whenever it's convenient, they'll like sort of like pull
I'm
in
sorry,
other.
did you say Swaggy P?
Yes, I don't even know that man's real name, but the name that he goes by on reality television is Swaggy Pete.
Swaggy P.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, Polly is a big brother. Okay. And Kylan is Big Brother 23. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's for this game. It's just Josh, Casey, Tori, and Devin, and then you can add to that sort of like their other alliances. Like for these people, it's not too much, but for Tori, I think that would include like, you know, what's Jordan by extension, I would think.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know, like I don't know like what to make of this alliance because I think alliances can people will refer to alliance will use the word alliance to refer from anything from people who've been on previous shows together and like
Hmm.
just have like cross paths to like people who are actively conspiring together to manipulate gameplay in the current season that they're on. Um I
That's
don't
fair.
know. I don't know that like I do think this is an alliance. I don't know why they're trying to deny it so hard that it's an alliance. Everybody except for Tori. Everybody's like, no, this is just a thing. People need to let it go. We went on vacation one time. And I'm like, yeah. And every time multiple of you guys from that vacation are on a season together, you guys are conspiring together to influence the game, like we saw on USA
Yeah.
Champions, like we saw on or championship, like challenge championships, world championships, like we saw on USA season 2, like we saw on Ride or Dies, like anytime you guys, multiple of you guys are here together, you're conspiring together. Like, so
You're
you're
friends.
friends, and that's what alliances are built off of, relationships,
Yeah.
right? And you have relationships that extend outside of the
Which
game.
is
So of
like a
course,
massive part of the entire concept of the
it's a huge
entire show.
advantage. It's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially this season with the way that they're running the karma points and the blah 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 blah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna talk about that too because we got something on that at the end. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I hated that this was like mentioned. I hated that this took so much of the episode. But now, obviously, I've given it a lot of our episode too.
Mhm. That's fine. That's completely fine. But as we
But
always talk
nothing
about,
much.
like clearly they're trying to tell a story in
Yeah.
post-production. So clearly this is important
Well, I
somehow.
will say, like, I mentioned it for as long as I did because nothing really happened before we get to the challenge. We
Oh
get
no, I have like no notes before we get to the challenge.
we get to the daily challenge, and this daily challenge is called
Actually, I
Fast
do have to
Pass.
say something problematic before we get to the challenge.
Wait, what happened?
I just feel like Josh is a little,
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit. You cut that out, but it's I just feel like
I'll
he's
keep it in. Josh's gonna come for you.
Josh, wait, I'm also homosexual. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Wait,
This is not a hate crime.
what happened? So what happened?
I just felt like I was like listening, and of course men can be in touch with their feminine, but I was like, it's just giving like a little bit of, as the children would say, zest.
What
Just a
did you
little bit of
hear?
zesty.
Give me like the specific thing. I
I
might
don't
cut
know.
this
It
out
was
now
after
because we're
Johnny Banana
waffling.
said something about
Oh, are you talking about when?
it was something I don't.
No, go ahead. That happened later in the episode when Michelle is sitting on the bed and Josh is like, "Oh, like I'm just happy for my friends," like that thing. No, that's not what happened.
No. It wasn't. It was after Johnny Banana said something about. It's literally the only note that I have between squirrels and the beginning of the challenge. So it was between that. I can't exactly. I just wrote Josh is zesty. That's literally all I wrote.
Oh, okay. Oh, I misheard you. I thought you said they said something problematic before they got to the challenge. So I was like, "Oh, I didn't hear this."
Oh no,
You
I'm
said
saying something
you
problematic.
were gonna say something problematic. Yeah. Okay. You think
Yes,
Josh is a
Josh is
little
zesty.
zesty?
Yeah, and it's I don't know
Mm.
what it was about, but it was between Johnny Banana talking about squirrels and the beginning of the
Okay.
challenge.
Sorry, I misunderstood that. I'm like, what happened? Did I miss this? Like, I want to talk about it. Okay.
No, I think
I
Josh was on
gotcha.
his best behavior this episode.
Yeah, I've just been on his best behavior all season long,
He
for
does
sure.
whisper so dramatically though. Like everything is and I'm just like, sir, it's fine. You're wearing a mic pack, babe.
Oh my. So we get to the challenge, and it's called Fast Pass, and they have to navigate this Y-shaped beam through a forest.
I was
Um,
automatically confused. I'm one pass girly, as we know. I my first note is automatically don't understand the rules.
yeah,
I understood the rules as it went on, but I did not understand the explanation of
so
the
they
rules.
essentially just have to move an awkwardly shaped, large and heavy object
Hmm.
through a tough to maneuver space, right? A forest with a bunch of trees, right? And then they have to collect eight sandbags, and they have to do it in two trips. So you can only collect four at a time. So everybody has to make two trips. Once you get
Hmm.
all eight of your sandbags, you have this scale, and you have to figure out like the sandbags don't have a weight on them, so you have to feel them out and then set them on this scale in a way that they will balance out the scale perfectly. And the
Yeah.
first team to do that wins. I don't. I mean, do you want to talk about the challenge? Because I don't like.
Can we talk about the challenge? Because
Yeah,
I felt like it was like weird and weak.
yeah. You
Not
didn't like
like
it.
the gameplay. Everybody tried. Well, we'll get to that. But I just like the challenge itself. I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, it wasn't like super exciting. I didn't hate this challenge. I will say I liked this episode. I've been happy with the season. I didn't hate this challenge, but like getting this challenge after an eating challenge and a trivia challenge that were both also kind of like meh, like especially after the trivia challenge and after like a 2 week or week long break was
Mhm.
like right if we'd had like a bunch of like banger challenges and then stuck this like somewhere in the middle, like I don't think we'd be talking about this. What I actually thought about, and I for
Especially
this,
not with the preview of the season where we see cards flying and people
yeah,
are, yeah.
what I actually thought about for this challenge was like, and why I was kind of like, it's just the team sizes, right? Like you have a team like see, I think Era One has 6 players. Hold up,
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. I did
yeah,
not consider that at all, the fact that all the teams are different
yes,
sizes.
Era One has 6 players. And we don't always balance these games in team competitions. Like, oh, we rarely do actually on the challenge. Like, if we're playing like
Oh,
a game with like two teams and one team is just mollywopping the other team, and so they have all their members and the other team has fewer members, they're just at a disadvantage. So I understand why it wasn't, but I felt
is
like in
Aviv still there, by the way?
Aviv is still
Did
there.
Aviv? Okay. Okay, because I didn't check her off my list.
So I think like Era 1 is 6, Era 2 is 7, Era 3 started off with 7, I believe. Yes. Era 3 started off with 7 and then Era 4 also started with 7. So Era 1 was down a player. I feel like this was one of those things that like you could have made everybody else sat down a player. Like
And I would think so too,
they don't
but
use I will
also it
say
literally.
they don't usually do that on the challenge. Like you got who you got, like you know. And if
Well, I
you're
guess that puts
able
the stakes into the game.
yes, if you're able to maintain your members, you benefit from having an advantage in the daily challenges, and
Yeah.
then you can keep winning because you have an advantage. And then
Yeah, that's
sometimes
fair.
we have games where you're actually more advantaged having less members because it might be you have to get all your members across some obstacle or something, so you have
Okay.
less trips. But I will say I thought about it like very early on because just because of the weight. Now I wasn't holding on to that thing, but like it looked heavy and awkward, and I was like, dang, just because of like how much this might weigh, like some once the other three teams are at a much greater advantage just because
They
era
have
one
one
is
more
the
person.
only era that's down a member. Everybody else is pretty much even. Like
Yeah.
I think this could have been an opportunity to like even just play this game differently. Maybe if it was played in stages and you could only have four members on the beam at once, change the object, make it different, and then make it that like okay, you're gonna have four people doing this, and then you're gonna have to figure out how to have your other members doing
Yeah.
some other thing to you know to mitigate like that physical portion. But other than that, I didn't have like too much else on this game. It played out pretty like the story like played out pretty linear in a pretty linear fashion where
Yeah.
Era 4 gets out to a lead and they maintain it pretty much. Era 1 gets in the back and they drop back the whole time. The only thing that kind of came in was like, a few people from Era 2 pointed out that they noticed that Laurel was like not working as hard as she could be, and then we get a confessional from Laurel um
Yeah.
just basically saying that she's throwing the challenge because she wants Emily to go in. And I was like, well, you guys aren't in last place. Like, you got to get in last place for Emily to automatically go in. But she's throwing the challenge because she doesn't want Emily there because she's thinking about the finals. I think this is a mistake. I really, like, I think Laurel knows something that we don't, and I think we're going to get into an individual game in the final. And I think it'll be a disservice to the Battle of the Eras motif to not have this end in teams. Like,
I agree, but do you think Laurel knows, like she's been told something at this point that
yeah,
we?
I think they probably all know. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Laurel has like special information. I'm saying I think the challengers maybe know. Maybe like when they signed on or something, when they knew, like maybe they told them what the prize pot was going to be, and if you're giving everybody like a number, they're like, oh yeah, it's probably going to be, three people win at the end, like
But wouldn't that
or
like
pairs or whatever.
genuinely disrupt the concept of the show to know that in advance?
Not really. I mean, not really because we've had seasons of that are played in pairs, and like at the end, right? What your money's going to
Okay.
be. I think they like I do think that like it's pretty like they pretty much do know like what the money. Maybe not the entire format of the show. Like that stuff is still like kept a mystery
Hmm.
until like day one, but like they know what the money's going to be, and they know the length of the show, right? And then you just kind of do the math from there. You go, hey,
I see what you
if
mean.
I'm doing a
Okay.
challenge every 4 days and an elimination every 5 days, like, right, the day after each challenge, and I'm gonna be here for 4 months. That means I'm gonna have 16 eliminations. Oh, there are gonna be this many people left. Oh, okay,
So like a deduction, basically.
yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think
that
that
makes no. I thought you meant like Laurel was like like a sleeper cell, like somebody had told her something, and, and she was like out here being nefarious because like she's like like somebody told her to do something.
Laurel tortured it out of one of the producers. She
Not
grabbed
yeah,
it.
I was not
She
even
could
that.
have.
Like
I'm not putting that past her. She could have
I would
grabbed a
put that
PA or
put the
something. Let me know.
external, but I thought you meant like in terms of like Laurel was like a grenade, like
No,
they
yeah.
yeah.
No, I no, okay, like a producer plan.
Yes, a plant. That's exactly the word that I'm thinking of. I don't know why I said. Oh, I know I said grenade because I suffered through so many Jersey Shore commercials.
Uh, no. I think what I'm saying I think the entire cast probably has reasonably like, you know, assumed that
Yeah,
this is
that
how
this
the
is
game is
yeah.
going to go.
I would hope not
And
though,
I think
because
that,
what's the
and probably
point?
they're all like talking to each other too and going, like, I mean, these people have like, altogether, these people have like 700 years of challenge experience. Like, if anybody can come to it, like, it would be this group.
Yeah, I mean that's completely fair. Yes,
I hope it isn't. Like, I think it'll be a
I
disservice
agree.
to the theme of the show. Like, let them battle it out. Like, this is why I wish the elimination rounds were done differently. Um, because we've had other team competitions. Actually, I don't know if we talked about this with each other, but I was hoping that like I wish what would happen is that like we the four teams compete, the losing team like everybody still selects their target, but like each team selects their own target people that they're going
Hmm.
to put up. The losing team, those two people go into go into elimination immediately. The winning team then either chooses like same thing that's going on, chooses one team to stay like at the challenge like that day or the next day or whatever. I don't care.
Oh, so we
But
don't
like
go to chambers and do the arguing
yeah,
about
like
it.
we don't need all that. That the winning team either chooses one team to stay or like chooses whichever team is going to compete against them. And then instead of like competing individually, I think they should compete in teams so you keep the number of women and the number of men in the game on each team even so that you can run a team competition at the end. Um,
Hmm.
Now, I think
Interesting.
the risk with that is because like the teams are so small, like there are only going to be five pairs on each team. A
Yeah,
team can go to five eliminations and get completely wiped off the map. Um,
very true.
but it's battle of the eras, baby. Like if there's only two eras battling it out at the end, like
I mean, I mean, I feel like we would end up there anyway. Is
yeah,
like there, yeah. So I absolutely agree with what you were saying,
I
and it also just makes me want to say, "Arrow, what I love you, Arrow."
um so era 4 wins and then era 1 loses and
Wait, can we
then
say two? Can we say some other things about this
yeah,
first?
go ahead.
Um, One, I hate the fact that Laurel just thinks she's so much smarter than everyone else. It really ticks me off. Um, and then the same thing bothered me that did when we were on our little boats, like our little rowing boats,
Mhm.
not the original boats, the team
Yeah.
boats.
Yes.
Why is it that we can't just, and this is where Tina and CT get into it, like
Oh yeah,
what
we should have talked about this. I forgot.
why can't why do we always fall apart
Are you talking to
communicatively?
Era 1 specifically? Cuz Era 4 crushed. Like they never even like
No, I mean, Era One is like the worst
it was
proponent of it
Era
this
1 and
time.
Era 3 that struggled the most.
Yeah, but I'm just like, if we have decided like that two people are gonna be,
I ex-
eh, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I interrupted your thoughts.
Oh,
Are
I
you,
was just gonna say, if we've decided in advance, like in advance of the challenge, not like advance, but like in the day of that, these two people are gonna lead this situation. Let them do it.
yeah, I was gonna say something along the line. The thought that I had when I was watching this and watching Tina and everybody go back and forth on her team is that I don't really like to your point, the plan for communication or strategy should be made before the game starts, not while we're in the middle of the challenge. Like that's what was going on with Era 1 that I thought was kind of like crazy. It was like, "Oh, we should go this way. We should do this." And who's talking? I said I was going to talk, but like I know, but like make the plan before and like stick to it, which is what you
And stick
just
to the
and
plan,
which is what you just said. Like
especially
uh
after the boating disaster.
yeah. I just think they were bad plans either way. Like they tried to like
My
lift. Did you
babies.
notice that they tried to like hold it straight up, and take it through, and then obviously the physics of that wasn't gonna work with
And it
such.
also wasn't that well built to do that
Yeah,
either. That's the thing that like you could see that it
it
was like
wasn't rigid. Yeah,
bendy. Yeah.
well, I think it may have been bamboo too, right? And like bamboo is already
Yeah. And like it was like literally just like
mandible.
lashed together with ropes. Like it's like 1775 and we're trying to get away from Moby Dick. Like it was
I love the design of this prop. I must say that's why I didn't hate this
I
challenge
hated it.
entirely because I like the design of the prop. I like the way it looked. I just think the challenge was too the challenge was too simplistic. Like it should have either been like a long distance with no like navigation or just like a grander scale. I think. Or heavier,
Yeah.
like make the item smaller but like super heavy and like with no real handholds or whatever,
I
or
think
just
it should have been a distance
yeah,
thing.
or just make it like a distance thing, right? Without the trees and it can still be multiple trips. Maybe make it like a trail. Like there's probably you're probably like in like a national park or somewhere, right? There's probably
Hmm.
like a walking trail. Put it on a walking trail. Maybe have multiple like forks so the navigation could be like, do you go down the wrong path and
Yeah,
get
but
lost
I
or
think
whatever?
that I completely agree with you that the trees that we were presented with, it was just kind of like,
Yeah,
like yeah, it was not giving. I will say that at the end when we're doing the balancing, which is like basically anticlimactic, to me it didn't look like Era 4. I mean, they were definitely first, but it
yeah.
didn't I
It
did not
hadn't stopped.
understand.
It hadn't evened out yet. But I was looking because I'm a sleuth now since what happened to Horacio.
That's exactly
Uh,
what I was
so
doing.
I was looking at both of the competitions today. I was like looking at the at there's a point where like they're still celebrating and in the background it is like perfectly flat. I think like TJ probably knows like what the bags weigh and knows like how they have to be configured for the scale to balance, and once they got the right thing and it looked like it was somewhat close, he called it.
But how would he know?
Cause I oh yeah, you're right. Cause it doesn't have a label. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, there's
like I
probably only like two weights. Like there's probably just like a 20 pound bag and like an
and
8 pound
I like
bag or
yeah,
whatever, and you
yeah.
just do the math and goes, hey, there needs to be two, big bags here and one small bag here or whatever. Like
Did
there's
you say
like.
big backs?
Okay. Okay, let's move on. No, what I was gonna say is the growth. Oh, like OG CT, like 2004 CT and 2014 happened just like after the events of that challenge would not be apologizing to each other. They'd be arguing like we would get a clip of them arguing on the bus back to the house and then them arguing like through the house like so shout out to them and shout out to the growth.
Shout out to the growth. Honestly, even though you're probably gonna cut out the stuff we just said about birthdays, it actually made me feel better about aging because I was like, oh, like they're adults.
Yeah,
Like
they're just chilling.
they're just chilling now. I literally wrote Arrow One is still my favorite. I love their calmness because with before Chambers, when they're talking to each other about what if they're gonna like, make their case or anything, I think they say something along the lines of like
Just
let
let
Air
them
Force
talk. Yeah.
squirm.
Yeah, just let them talk. We're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, we're not going to figure it. And I was like, that is, yeah, it's like that is like good. But to your point, as a
Well, I
longevity
mean,
watcher,
they have like no bargaining like chip too, right? Like
I
they
know,
have.
but I feel like they do it just like calmly. Like they're not like,
Yeah.
it's not out of like, oh my gosh, we don't have anything to do. It's just
Yeah.
kind
That's
of
true.
like, that is what it is.
Yeah, fact.
Yes,
Um,
which I love. And
Other
again,
than that,
CT,
I thought
love
Chambers
my
was
life.
kind of boring. I know that like it wasn't edited like it was boring. It felt boring. Like
It
I
was boring.
I never liked the thing of like you try to cut a deal. Oh, I got you now. Like I exposed you. Like I was like, aren't we all like constantly like talking to people and making
Like a
promises that we like
mid-Atlantic 1920s accent. Did you just forget?
no, but like
Now she,
but
yeah.
like but like aren't we all just like running around talking to people to like thinking like offering them whatever we have to offer them, doing what we think is best in the moment just to like get to a point later on where
Yes, it's the game.
we have to like break our word, like we have to go back and throw them under the bus because some other opportunity has presented itself. Like
Yes.
it's what we do here. I don't think like Nehemiah made any like wrong moves, like right? Like
I just think he
I
wasn't
just
good at it.
I just thought it was like a weird way to like start the chambers and being like other people here got other protections and just bro, it's super simple. These type of negotiations. Hey, don't put me in because if you don't put me in, I won't put a target on you, right? I like if I like I
Hmm.
won't throw a target back on you if I win. Or if my team wins power next time, I'll make sure that we keep you out, and I'm willing to talk to my teammates about that. Either
You know
you
what I
believe,
would have loved,
go
and
ahead.
you're gonna, I know there's a thousand reasons why this would never happen, but I would have loved Airs 1 through 3. Yeah, because 4 was in charge of chambers. 1 through 3 coming together and being like, let's not say anything at all
This
and
happens
just,
too. This is another
yeah.
strategy that people employ, like where people just come in and go, "Yeah, we're good. Like you guys make the choice. Like you tell
Because
us
I
what
would want to see
happens."
what Era 4's decision was without any other influence.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but that's
I
just
think
like,
they were like, and this is why I think that like the Chambers thing, like them pretending like Nehemiah put his foot in his mouth and that was like a major thing, was already like a bit weird because I think Era 4 was always gonna save Era 3. Like you
yeah,
two
the
of your
besties.
like two of your players are deeply aligned with the two people from Era 3 that happen to be on the block now. Like you're not gonna like they're probably in your ear like, hey, bro, we know those people are gonna take care of us. We got to deal. Don't
And
worry about
that's why they're like that. I think that's why in post production they were like blah 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 Vacation
it.
Alliance.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Okay. After the air, Michelle. This is where we get Michelle is sitting there. Josh is teasing her about, um, I can't think spending the night with Devin.
Devin.
And then Laurel comes through and like has a little jokey moment, but then like immediately takes it back. Was like, oh, I thought you were Avery. And Michelle, this for the life of me, I don't understand. Michelle is like, I want to see what's going on with Laurel. Like we can't get on the same page, and I'm just like, why would you need to get on the same page with Laurel?
I'm glad you said that because I was like, oh, this must be something I don't know anything about. But it like in terms of something that happened before. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. I just thought Laura was being when she said that thing, I thought you were Avery. I just thought that was like weird and like like Laurel. Obviously, we all know that I don't like Laurel at all. But like when she just like reached into Michelle's lap and like got the thing and like just moved on, I was like, ooh, like I was just was literally like I don't think that you know her
So,
well enough to be moving like that.
like, here's the thing, Michelle
I'm
is
looking at my notes.
sorry, I just did something. Michelle is literally sorry. I'm gonna have to pause. Boo. I think it's because I had this open. Let me just close that. So, let me go. Let me go back. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, and I had to step out and step back in. Um,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. What was I talking about? Oh, Michelle and Dr. Laurel. Laurel, like,
Dr. Laura, sorry.
yes. Oh, Laurel is a doctor of veterinary medicine. She's a vet.
People trust her with their pets?
I think I saw a thing, I don't know when, but I saw a thing of Laurel performing open heart surgery on one of her animal patients. So that's why she was gone for a long time. She was working on her education.
I can't stand
Also,
this
she's a
woman. Oh my
Michigander,
God.
so Oh, actually, the beef runs deep for me.
I that just adds to the list of reasons why I don't like Laurel. Boo, Michigan.
Corey's also from Michigan, but we love him though. Well, that's because he's
That's fair.
fine.
That's
It's
fair.
because he's fine.
And my
Um,
home team.
um,
Also,
no, no,
black
no,
people
no,
from Michigan are different than white people from Michigan. Let's be honest.
no. Okay, Corey, Mama White. So,
Oh, but it
and
no.
I don't think his father was in his life. That's what you get
Niggas.
for being racist. Actually,
Can I just say one more thing about Chambers? Emily, please, flowers, please, sweetheart, please take them out.
it's her thing. Do your thing, Emily. Don't let this hater hate on you. No, sorry. Let's get back to it. Michelle. I don't
Yes.
understand why Michelle needs to like have Laurel's friendship or just like cordiality with her. Y'all have
Yeah.
only done one season together. Like y'all's relationship can't run that deep. Like let it go.
Okay. See,
Let it
I
go.
thought this was built on
This
something
is
that
very
actually
This is
had
very
run
Michelle though. This
deep.
is the type of stuff that Michelle be doing and why I don't like her. Like
Okay, because this that makes a whole bunch of because I was like, oh, this just must be some beef that I don't know about. And so to know that there really isn't.
they don't have beef. I think they were like cool or friendly. And then Michelle and Jay elected to throw them into elimination on Ride or Dies, the single season that they've done together. Um, like
Yeah,
Laurel
we saw
said,
that
like I
clip,
was
didn't
just
we?
building. Like Laurel says later on, I was just building a perception of you, and then that's the thing you did, and then now you soured my perception forever. Is essentially. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense from
Yeah.
her point, but I don't know why it's like so. Um,
Upsetting to Michelle.
yeah, why it has such an impact on her that she's pursuing this relationship even against like Laurel's wishes.
I just something
So
about
we're
Laurel
gonna
makes me
well
so viscerally uncomfortable.
we don't want to talk about the some things about Laurel. Let's talk about what we saw on TV today. What the next thing we saw was Laurel and Michelle having that conversation. I was barely paying attention to this both times. What did you see?
I just, I honestly didn't think it was a big deal at all. And I remember seeing, so because we've seen the clip of Laurel and Cara yelling at each other in previews, when I noticed Cara's hair, when she was talking about dyeing her hair, I was like, oh, like it's gonna, like something is gonna happen this
I
episode
knew
about
that
it, right?
I knew exactly what was about to happen. I said this at the end of the last episode we did. And when I went, Laurel and Cara are gonna get into an argument, and I think it's gonna be Cara's fault, and that's how I feel. That doesn't like excuse like what we saw from Laurel later on, but
Yeah.
I think like what Cara did here, like the big story here is that Michelle and Laurel are having their little like, why don't you love me when I make me so damn easy to love. Michelle is
Yeah.
asking Laurel, "Why don't you love me?" And Laurel's like, "Because I eat babies. I don't love anybody." And Cara Maria comes in and she's just like, "Michelle, I'll be your friend." And I think a few things happened in this moment. One, I think Cara is being like, this is the tough part of being a Cara fan because she can be a little much, a little extra. But I think Cara is being like rude in this moment, right? Like, but
Oh, I don't get that read from it at
I also
all.
think Cara is doing this because she she for whatever reason sees Michelle as her 10 years ago, right?
Well, she
Like
says it.
pining for Laurel's approval despite the fact that Laurel's never going to give that approval, right? She's standing on the
Yeah.
other side of that. My issue with this is that like you and Laurel have beef. Like this is like imagine like you're standing somewhere talking and somebody that you don't like comes up and just like inserts themselves into the your conversation. Like you're going to be like why are you here? Like what the are you doing here? Like right? Which is
But
what
see,
Laurel
yeah, that's
which is
fair.
what Laurel does, and like Laurel doesn't react to it. Laurel just kind of like makes a face, like, "Okay, girl, like you're doing too much in this moment. If you really want to talk to Michelle, pull up on her and be like, "Oh, Michelle, I was just looking for you. Like, come with me. I got something to show you." And then just have that conversation with her. Hey, I know how like this stuff goes with Laurel. Trust me.
I do.
I'm
Okay, yes,
standing
I agree
here.
with that.
Yeah, I'm standing here like 10 years later. It's not gonna get any better. Let it go. Like, you know, let it go.
Yeah, I think that would have been a more well-rounded way to have handled this situation. But I just like it didn't like trigger anything. Like I kind of was just like, oh, like Cara's being a little bit like socially awkward, but like it didn't like to me rise to any level
I
of
thought
what
it was an
happens later on.
I thought it was antagonistic, but I thought it was like antagonistic in the sort of way that like it's like when you have like two kids or something like that,
Mhm.
and one of them goes to the other, "Oh, nice shoes," and then like the one who got the compliment is like, "Mom, like can you get her?" And your mom's like, "What did she do to you? She just said nice shoes. Like calm down."
Yes,
But
like
like
it doesn't,
but
yeah,
like
it doesn't
there's history there that like makes that
that
like
matters.
like that person knows that it's a dig, but like nobody else is like really like paying attention, especially like the people who haven't seen like that the history beyond it.
I
Like
just didn't think it was a big deal.
it
Like
wasn't
I
so it wasn't a big deal. I don't think this is what led to their fight. I still think Carr is the reason that caused their fight. I just think Laurel does Laurel things, so you can never really defend Laurel because her actions are always indefensible. So after like Cara pulls Michelle aside, she goes and she talks to Emily, which I thought was like a nice little conversation. Emily was giving her support.
yeah,
They
I
was
did love
basic. It
that.
was basically like a Laurel support group because Emily was like, "Yeah, she be mean to me too."
Well, it literally was a Laurel support group.
uh, like raise your hand if you've been victimized by Laurel Stuckey.
That's
uh,
exactly what
and
it
then
was.
and then later on they have like a real big Laurel support group. But then when Laurel's in the pantry, so this is why I know it was Car's fault. The only time we see Laurel is in that makeup room and in the pantry. So Laurel leaves that makeup room, goes right to the pantry. Cara goes to dye her hair, and she's sitting in the room with Emily. And then all of a sudden, she ends up in the pantry with Laurel, and Michelle is nearby. So I know that we're not seeing the entirety of their fight. So I did a little like internet sleuthing, and
Okay.
I realized we didn't. They cut piece some some things that Laurel said to Cara that were like right, and that's why Cara's like bawling like she is. Laurel brings up Cara's previous relationship that she had, which was abusive, and basically in that rant where she's talking about I supported you through this, through this, through this. She names a lot of that stuff, and apparently she does the Laurel thing where she like berates Cara for having been in that relationship and like how that played out. So like
Oh my
that's why I was
God.
kind of looking like I can see because when I watched this I was like, Cara, just stay away from that girl. Like you don't like her. You know y'all have this history and like yeah, you're trying to protect
Yeah,
Michelle. You can do that without ever coming in contact with Laurel. You can do that
with
without
Laurel.
ever exchanging words with Laurel. But like I could tell
True,
by
true.
the way Cara was emotionally that something like something like Laurel was being Laurel. Like and we know Laurel's I'm not gonna give her the benefit of the doubt either. Like I'm not gonna defend her actions at all. But
Yeah.
essentially what happens is we see Carr pull up on Laurel, make a comment with her. I thought if Laurel if they would have just like had that yelling if what we're shown on TV is actually what would have happened, I would have been like, oh, like Carr was kind of in the wrong, but like still, both of y'all 40 years old, like let it go, like
Also that.
honestly, move on,
I
both of
don't know
y'all.
why they can't let this go either. Am
I
I
don't
crazy
know.
for thinking
I don't know either. I'm gonna edit this out because I can't let you have this.
that? I just like it was really upsetting to me the way that Laurel goes after her. Like I don't first
Yeah, this
pass
is
or
why
what.
Laurel is indefensible. Like she always escalates these
Yeah,
things, and
like
she
it got really
this
escalated
I think there's some
overnight.
I think something is wrong with Laurel because the way she's able to like incite these like big emotional reactions out of people without seemingly without ever being affected herself. Like I've never seen Laurel even look a little bit like tilted like in one of these like interactions.
I have said something
I mean,
about Laurel.
I'm not a Laurel fan. I'm just we can't both just be like aimlessly hating on Laurel. So I just try to
I
raise a
know, but
little balance.
I have like said, and I think I've said, I don't know if it's been kept
She's
in
no,
any of
she's
our
vile.
episodes.
Like it, like she. We saw that like last episode. I thought it was vile, and I thought like this too. The way she got in her face, like all of that stuff was just like.
It just is
I
like
think she should have been like, and if
uncomfortable.
she made the comments that they're saying that she made online, I think it's been confirmed by like castmates. She should have been kicked off. Like y'all, there should be no tolerance for stuff like that. Like to bring up someone's trauma like that with on such a sensitive matter too, because like the guy was like also a castmate of the show. Maybe that's probably why I didn't make it on in the edit as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah, like she should have been sent home. Like Emily and Tina should have been able to sit out that elimination because we're one girl lighter, and then Tina just calls the targets because somebody from Era
Yeah.
2 got eliminated.
It
That
just
was
made me
crazy.
so viscerally uncomfortable because it just seemed like too much. And obviously there have been fights and reality TV shows and all of that jazz, but it just seemed like way too much for like the context of the situation. Because when we see the clip that they're going to argue at some point in time, like in the past, I'm like, oh, like it must have been like something like serious,
Mhm.
I guess, or something that actually would like move a needle in some sort of way. For it to just be this and for
Yeah.
Laurel to act
And
that way for just this, I was like, it's too
I also
much.
found it like really odd that Laurel was like talking about, "Oh, I've had your back. I've done this and that for you." And she was talking about rivals and all what was the other one? Yeah, rivals, which was
Mhm.
it was I think there were two clips that showed from their older seasons. But like I
Yes.
literally looked at it and I was like, when was Rivals 2011? Like you're talking about 2011, sis?
Oh my God.
Let me pull this up to make
I
sure.
did not know it was that far back. Good Lord, that makes it worse, not better. Okay. Because the clips they showed, I was like, okay, maybe it was like kind of like one of them looked a little bit older, but then like when they're by a pool, I think, and she's getting in Laurel's face or she's getting in Cara's face and like, you don't know me, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, why are we doing
That one was literally
this?
last year. That was All Stars 4. But yeah, it was
It's
literally
just
like
weird.
it was Rivals that they did that. And I think it was funny because like yes, Laurel did defend Cara when Wes was coming at her. But she also did so by
She also
antagonizing.
seems intoxicated in that clip.
She did so. She stood up for Kara, yes, in that moment, but she did so by antagonizing Paula. This is the one that I was telling you about. By antagonizing Paula to the point that Paula was basically like Kara in this situation by bringing up Paula's ED and like going in on that for like
Oh
a
dear
solid
God.
like for probably like for what from what we saw for like a solid like 40 seconds of 60 seconds of TV, but what was likely like 20 or 30 minutes in real life. And Paul is literally like who had been up until that point in the season very like present right in the season, very
Hmm.
like open and bubbly. At that point was like literally sitting on the couch like hyperventilating, like breathing like like panting,
Oh
breathing,
my
and like holding
God.
herself. And Laurel is just like standing, like Paula is sitting on a chair, and Laurel is standing over her physically and just berating her and bringing up her traumas to the point that Paula is just like
Well,
in
that's a
herself,
mirror
like.
of what happens right now with Cara because Laurel, I
Mhm.
mean, first of all, the
And that was
production
the
security.
one of the moments where she was defending Kara. She did so by just like she defended Kara from the antagonism of other people by just antagonizing somebody else.
Yes. And in this particular fight, like obviously also production security like interrupts too, and they're like in there. Like Laurel is like chest to chest with Cara, just like looking down on her, yelling in her face. And I'm just like, I just don't see how anything could be that serious.
Mhm.
The that level now I'm not a lover girl in the way that like I forgive people. I do have immense hatred for people on this planet. There are very few people that I know personally that I hate that much to engage in that sort of like one way antagonistic behavior, like whose like feelings matter to me so little that if they ask me to stop or if they ask me to cry, like or if they were crying, like I would just like continue. um
Girl. Oh.
I know you have to cut that out. But like I only hate like one or two people that
Damn,
much.
what happened with y'all two? We'll talk about it after this.
I fucking hate that
I
bitch.
don't remember.
Um,
I don't remember, so we'll talk about it after this.
it's fine. You don't have to remember anything. I just can't stand her. But I like it just felt like way too much from Laurel. And
Mhm.
like to clearly to me, the interruption of the production staff means that other people in the situation
Yeah,
were also like,
that's
girl,
what
you're
was.
doing a
That's
lot.
why I knew there was something off with the edit because we see them like talking and cars like barely like crying and just kind of like it's just like the loop. I was like, oh, this is just the same thing. Like, oh my god, you were rude to me in the past. You were rude to me in the past. Oh, you're mad that I beat you on All Stars 4. Like, girl, calm down. And then like you just see like production members and like security like standing between, and I'm like, no, this couldn't have been this. Like this they've done this a dozen times on this show. Like this wouldn't have.
And
um
I don't understand why. And I'm gonna say it, and I know that this is complicated and complex, and I don't understand everybody's history in this situation. I'm like kind of, and I know people have seen this time and time again, but it's like kind of like upsetting to me that like other people are kind of just like letting Laurel, at least from what we see,
Yeah, you're
like
right.
letting Laurel like go off. And then
Yep.
that was my next note. Was like I wrote Kylan dot 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 because he like in confessional or whatever, when she's like talking to
I
her
don't.
him and Theo, or no, when she's like making her sandwich and she's like, I just came down here to make a sandwich. And Kylan and Theo are kind of just like being very
Yeah.
forgiving to her.
I
I'm
don't
like,
think
why?
so. I don't think everyone knows all of the history. I also just don't think everyone is all bad. Like this is one thing that I said in the episode where we talked about Darrell is that Laurel has a bunch of very strong relationships in this game and has been able to maintain a lot of those relationships for years, like
But
bananas.
how?
Well, I don't know how, but like my point is, I don't think that anyone is like all bad. Like I don't think Laurel is like evil. Although
Oh,
I do think she's evil, lowercase e, right?
excellent distinction. Yes.
But I think that like her, like you might experience Laurel in a totally different way, and you're not friends with Cara, and you don't talk to Cara, you don't have like emotion, like a relationship with Cara.
That's
So you're
fair.
like, and you're probably hearing all of the Laurel and Cara drama from Laurel's perspective as well too. Like if Laurel's
Hmm.
the villain in Cara's story, like imagine who Cara is in Laurel's story, right? Right.
Yeah,
So that's
you're right.
probably what's going on. I don't and I know they started fighting and arguing like before most of those people got there. So those people got there and heard them fighting about I used to have your back, I used to have your back. And then like when Laurel sits down and talks to you and Laurel says, "Oh, I was just here making a sandwich," which is all true. I was just here in the pantry chilling out. This girl got hair dye in her head and then left from the other side of the building to come talk to me about why I'm not being nice to Michelle when she know I don't rock with her and we don't even talk to each other no more. We haven't exchanged words in 8 days. Well, what was I supposed to do? I defended myself. And Kylan's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I did know that you said earlier that you were on your way to make a sandwich and I saw Cara walking that way." It's just like they don't have all of
I
the the
guess.
information that we have. I
But how do you see Laurel do the what she did and then have that discussion with her? Like, even if you
yeah.
don't know all the history, like it's so bad that you see production staff as intervening and you know that
Yeah.
that's not normal.
I don't know.
Like, and I don't know. I didn't like that. That's why I wrote Kylan dot 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 and then I wrote shut up, count all off.
Yeah, no. Some I don't want to see this anymore. I don't need
Oh
to
God,
see
no.
Laurel
It
on
makes me
on
so
another season.
uncomfortable.
I don't like I really don't need to see Laurel on another season. I know there like she was a big challenge what if for a long time because she did have like such a like she was dominant in her first few seasons and it was a huge what if like oh my god like for every season that she wasn't on the discussion was, man, if Laurel was here, that girl wouldn't. If Laurel was here, man, these girls, man, if Laurel was here, she'd be in the final. Like that, people were speculating for a while what like the records of like some of the top female challengers would look like if they actually had to compete against Laurel in her prime. We don't
Mm.
know. It's too much. Like we've been seeing this for years. Like we saw flashes of this even on Fresh Meat. We saw her doing like versions of this, like her very first season out. Um, and we saw it on Cutthroat. Like we've seen it every time we've gotten her. We don't need to see her anymore. I think
Just
it's high
isn't
time. Like
worth
it's not
it.
worth it. Like I want to. I like Laurel as a competitor. I've always like enjoyed her. But like even on the last few seasons of the show that she's been on, like so much of it is just this weird behavior. You like she's not. I don't even want to really want to talk about. We don't need to see her anymore. She doesn't give us anything other than this. Um, let it go, MTV. Just let it go.
And that's what I said for the people who
Or
will understand me when I say this very specific thing.
mhm.
Laurel and Whitney from Secret Mormon Lives,
Okay.
they're the same.
No, I was gonna
They
say
are the same.
or
That sort of
just make
weird
sure she.
behavior, they're the same.
I was gonna say just make sure she's not on the same season as Car. Like, because I know why you guys cast them together because
Oh yeah.
y'all want to see this mess. One or the other. Whoever had the better season the previous season gets the call back. The other one can stay home.
Yeah,
But
just
I don't think you should punish Car for this. Just keep Laurel at home. That's my preferred solution. Just keep Laurel at home.
or do a villain of a season of supervillains and let Cara do and let and let Laurel do whatever she wants to whoever she wants.
A season of supervillains.
And let
That's
Laurel
fine.
just
That would be
like
kind of fun though. We've already done that. We've done like gauntlets and infernos where it's like the good guys versus the badasses.
you know what I would love to see from everything you've told me about him? I want Josh and Laurel to absolutely go at it.
I think they get along. That's the
Blech!
crazy thing. Like I think they get
Disgusting.
along. I That's what I'm saying. Like like
That's not a good sign.
the version that Laurel gives to certain people is beloved. Like for example, like even though Laurel and Ryan fell out, they got along on All Stars 4, even though they felt like I think Laurel and Derek are still close. Like she still regards Derek as an ally, and Derek and Ryan are like good friends.
Except Ryan in confessional was like, I was like,
No, that's what I'm saying.
yes.
Yeah, like Ryan hates Laurel now, but he didn't
Mhm.
always. He hates her now. Derek and her are still cool, but he and Derek are still friends somehow. So it's just this really weird thing where she's integrated in the group in such a way that like she's insulated from and Cara is also just like doesn't have the best rapport with like everybody there as well too. So that
Yeah, but I
factors.
think that Laura, ooh, um, Kara's not like lack of like good rapport with everybody is mostly just due to being kind of weird.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But Laurel
just
is
being
like,
outcasted.
yes.
Laurel has
Next up,
like actually antagonized these people in like real ways.
yes, Kara's just kind of weird or has been weird. My only, I don't have anything left for that. My next section is getting hammered.
Oh no, well no, we got to talk about the Laurel support group where
Oh,
Ryan, Ryan and Emily and I don't remember who else all come, Michelle all come to
yeah.
comfort Cara and hug her while she's still dyeing her hair. So
Yes, I
yeah,
wrote, yes, surround her with love because I felt like Cara needed some love in that moment. Because that
after
was
that,
just weird.
yeah, after that we do get into the challenge.
The challenge or the
I
elimination?
mean the elimination. I'm so sorry, the elimination
Yes.
round, which is called
Getting hammered.
getting hammered. Do you want to explain it?
Mhm. Um, yeah, I guess I can. It's the only challenge or the only elimination so far that I feel like I actually might not be bad at. It was 100 nails in a wall. You got a hammer, you have to undo all of the nails, and then unclear to me if you're putting the same nails in the
Mhm.
next wall.
Same nails.
Okay, so you're the same nails in the next wall, 100 nails again in 100 holes, and then you hit a button and you're done.
I what I thought was real interesting about this challenge is that all four competitors knew that the nails had to go into the holes that were already made on the board, and they couldn't just stick them anywhere. Derek, even even though TJ didn't say in the directions that they have to go into these holes, he just said put them in the wall. Everybody knew that if there are 100 holes on a wall, we should put the nails in the 100 holes and not just stick them stick two in one hole.
What are you Oh,
Uh,
I was saying to the
I was waiting for you to get there, but
I was like,
I'm
Derek
just
doesn't know
saying
about it.
I find it real curious that all four of these contestants didn't need to be told explicitly that we have pre-made these
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 holes for what
receptacles
purpose?
for this purpose,
But this
and
is a
that
question I
the
had for
number of
you.
holes match the number of items. Go ahead.
This is a question that I had for you when we first started. Is like, are you allowed to like cheat or not? Like, because I
Yeah,
kind of,
you can cheat, but there are rules, right? Like there
yeah,
are rules. You can it's not really cheating if you can find a way to circumvent the competition without breaking the rules.
then
Um,
you can do it.
then you're good. Like there's a really good
Because like, why couldn't you? Could you? Did
there was
TJ say
there
that
was
you couldn't take the weird Y apart?
a well, so stuff like that would be one of those things. It's probably like a rule like that. It has to stick together. Like there was a challenge where I think it was like Total Madness where they have to like they're like in this warehouse and they're like they have like limited vision and they have to like run through like soap bubbles like a sudsy hallway that's filled with
Mhm.
like all of these very large soap bubbles and then get to the other side and stand some distance away and then watch let me not do that watch a an item that's like a screen or whatever that's like showing lights flashing in a certain order, so like red, green, blue, like whatever. And then they have to memorize. I think there was like 15 lights, and they have to memorize that and put them in order. So everybody would go and they would get to the beginning, and then they would watch like five, and then they'd be running that, and then they like right, and they did multiple trips. And then Bananas goes on his turn in his heat, and he just stands at the button at the place where the puzzle is, and like stares like into space or whatever, and then he just does the puzzle perfectly one shot, one time. And everybody's like, What the hell? These guys are superhuman." But the way that the challenge was set up, the lights were actually being reflected on the side of the structure. so he could see the lights from the beginning. So he just sat at the beginning and watched the lights and never had to do any of the sprinting. That was within the rules. Like that's stuff like that we want to see. I want to see like if Derek would have found a way to like you know, like kick all of his needles into one place. Like maybe if he would have did 3 trips where he just kicked all of his jacks into a pile right in front of the ball, right, and didn't bother putting any of them on the board, and then now you just make it a thing where I'm just throwing the ball and like I can come across with 10 jacks every time and I only have to do 4 trips. I would have been like, oh, that's super brilliant. Look at him.
Yeah.
He took the sprinting element and the time element completely out of the game and circumvented the rules. But he didn't do that. He just broke the rules and then pretended not to know that that would be a rule. Like, I don't know. That seemed kind of. And they let him
Yeah.
get away with it, which is the worst part. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, back to this elimination.
Getting hammered. Yes. I felt like I could actually do this. The next thing I wrote was go off Tina. And then I was kind of concerned that only Tina's board worked like
I was too. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I think we found. I think we
that.
found
Like,
the real strategy. They didn't hammer them nails in.
because like Tina was just like, and they all
Yeah.
came out, and then
Yeah.
like CT, who I would think would be the strongest person in this or in
So
this
to
elimination.
to shoot Tina some bill, maybe she just has been nailing things in so often that she knows the exact perfect angle to tilt that hammer at, and everybody
I
was going straight
guess.
down, and maybe she just knew to get it toward herself a little bit to get. Yeah, they didn't hammer those nails, and she lucked
Like,
up. She
yeah,
lucked up. She got the board that would allow her to do that. I think.
yes, I think so. That's the only thing I wrote. And then those were the only three things I wrote for getting hammered in general because it was really simple. And then I wrote not Jenny being sacrificed again because
I want to know why Michelle hasn't been even been targeted by anyone. I honestly want to know. Like Michelle has not been up for elimination at all since this game started.
I don't know.
And I don't expect Nehemiah knows Michelle. Like maybe Michelle is just doing such a good job at bonding and because that's her strength. Like let everybody
Hmm.
tell her she's like the strongest social player that ever socialized. Maybe she is just like so charismatic and so charming and so great at building these bonds and relationships that like she has like all these people in her corner that aren't gonna risk her. Cause
Or do we think that people just like, do we know enough about Michelle where people are just kind of like, she's not worth targeting?
I don't. So Nehemiah was the guy that it was voted in. Nehemiah was last on the challenge like 8 years before Michelle was ever even on reality TV in general.
I see what you
So
mean.
like they
Okay.
don't have like a relationship prior to this. He doesn't know her. And like most people don't, right? Like this is Michelle's third challenge, I think, right? Oh, maybe fourth. Spies
What
Lies,
I think.
Ride or Dies, Battle for a New Champion, and then this one. Um and then she's done some other appearances, like one or two other appearances on the spinoffs. But like still even with that, like Nehemiah I for sure hasn't played with Michelle, right? And he's never been
Hmm.
aligned with Michelle. He has no reason to protect Michelle. Olivia was just up for a vote. Casey was the first target. I actually wished he would have. I thought he might put it on Casey because now you got beef with Devin and Tori. Might as well take
Hmm.
a shot at one of their other allies. Jenny just seemed sort of out of the way and out of the blue. Like Jenny just kind of seemed like I don't know why he chose Jenny over Michelle or Casey. But I also don't know
Do
why
you
he.
ever think
I
that
also
people
don't
just
know
like
why.
forget each other's names?
Well, I also don't know why he chose maybe, but not at this point. Not at this point in the game. I don't. I also don't know why he chose Michelle. Why he didn't choose Michelle. Um, Considering that she's the only one that hasn't been in. That's an easy one to kind of get, right? Especially in a game where all the teams are having people volunteer to just be like, "Oh, I'm going to throw Michelle in cuz she's the only person that hasn't even had a target on her or been in the sand." Like that would be an
Did
easy.
nobody volunteer for? No, Josh
No, none of the
volunteered.
girls volunteered. The girls were all sitting there and not, Nehemiah chose from Era 4.
Did they not decide somebody was going to volunteer? Because wasn't their whole big thing last
Yeah,
week that they were
that was
mad
their
at?
whole thing last week, but this week, and maybe Michelle just didn't volunteer, and she got away with it, and John 8 did.
Oh my God, Johnny was so bitter about that.
John 8 was annoying me with this, bro. Like I get why she didn't want to volunteer, But
She likes
like,
CT too.
but when she was talking to CT specifically, and she was like, "Oh, maybe they'll see this as an opportunity to take a shot." I was like, "Girl, who you think you is? Like, them little All Star wins ain't shaking nobody. Like, calm down." Like, John A was talking like she's a big dog. I'm
Well, that's
you
basically what CT says in confessional.
like yeah, you
Like,
like you've had a nice wrong, but a nice run, but the real big dogs are in fact here. Like, ain't nobody thinking
yeah.
about you like that, girl. Like,
I forgot John A was there again.
yeah, yeah, we'll see how she does. She was just annoying me with this. I get why you don't want to go in. Make them make a decision. Like, and especially if you have an ally, which Nehemiah was an ally previously. But I haven't like again, I haven't seen them talk to each other at all this season. So I'm like, how much of an ally could he be if you're not like making a point to go in and check him? You're hanging out with
Hmm.
the Vacation Alliance and having laughs about that instead of going and talking to your to what's supposed to be your ally and somebody who would never say your name. Like
Yeah.
you
Also,
probably
I
you probably
feel
did
like
that just to spite her.
wow. Every time somebody so far this season has been like, this person would never say my name.
Yeah,
It never is true.
yeah.
Um,
You can't play under those types of assumptions.
I was gonna say something else to you. Oh, I was just gonna say that I'm sad about losing Emily and
Oh
CT.
yeah, let's talk about this. We didn't really talk about the elimination round. So the girls
Oh,
go
because there
first.
wasn't really anything to
Emily
it.
versus Tina, and we watch Tina just with
Hurricane Tina.
with the swipe of a hammer just run all those nails right out of the wall.
Yeah. Maybe
And
she was like spinning it. I don't know. Something.
she ain't did nothing other than have some loose nails. Good for her. If they don't call it, they don't call it. But
Tina.
I was upset to watch Emily go. I for sure.
I was
I
upset.
will say I like this elimination, not because of the production or like how exciting it was or anything. I like when eliminations like this make it on the show, meaning that like I like when there are eliminations that don't have like a clear cut favorite, because typically what we
Oh.
have is like a puzzle or like some very physically grueling task. So
Mhm.
when the two contestants show up, you like look at the right, you see a hall brawl and you're like, oh yeah, this guy is 6'5", 240, this other guy is 5'10",
Here's looking
170.
at you, Polly.
Yeah, right. Like like when those sort of things happen, I think even like psychologically for the person that has like the advantage, the person who's like if Michelle walks into an elimination round and sees like a puzzle board and she's like, I know she's gonna be feeling confident, right? If
Mhm.
CT or Theo walks in and they see like a really physical competition, they're gonna be feeling confident. I like these types of things because both players have to like strategize and figure it out in the moment. And there's no real way to like prepare for something like this. It's like you're not gonna get the call that hey, you're gonna be on the challenge 40. You got 4 months to get ready, and then your first thought is like, oh yeah, let me go nail a bunch of stuff. Right? You're gonna go run. You're gonna go lift. You're gonna go
Mhm.
swim.
I
You're
think
gonna go.
Nehemiah says that. He's like all my time on the treadmill and running and all of that jazz, and it's just like this.
Yeah. So this is one of those things that it's either you're doing this already at home and it's going to be advantageous for you and you just don't know it, or you've never done this before, or you've rarely done this and now you're going to go against that. And I like it when these sorts of elimination rounds show up and then there's just someone that's like has an advantage and it's not the way that they thought they were going to be advantaged in the game.
Tina,
um
Tina.
so so I was happy with these results. I mean, I was rooting for Nehemiah. I love CT, but you know, CT's had a lot of wins. He's had a lot of success. He'll be back, I'm sure. Like he's not retiring.
I
And
know. I just love him so
he'll
much.
probably win again. I think this was a good little moment for Nehemiah. But again, it was a nailing competition, so I don't know that it showed us much about his preparedness for the rest of the game. Should he end up in elimination again, which he very well might. That's those are my thoughts.
No, I don't think so. I just love CT so much that I'm like, more than anything, I'm just gonna like miss him being like CT pro tip.
Oh, this is what I wanted to discuss. Do you see my chair doing this? I don't know. I keep hitting it like when I'm
Oh,
doing this.
sinking.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
keep
my
it
chair is sunk all
because
the way.
I was like locking it in place, and now I think I broke the locking mechanism, and so it just like messes up all the time. Need a new chair.
Mhm.
No, I was gonna say that like, do you think they're gonna show a bunch of like post mortem CT process and just have him pop up from time to time in confessionals, even though he was eliminated, to just be like CT pro tip?
I kind of hope so because I love
I
him
hope
because he's
not. I
just
hope not.
oh,
I'd actually rage if they did, but I was like, oh, I bet they do something like that. They love him so much.
that's my husband. I love him. Mama, I love him.
Mama, I love him, but I love him. Targets. You want to talk about the targets?
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I did not write down who our new targets are, so tell me
Oh,
who
okay.
they
I'll
are.
I'll go. So Tina puts targets. Well, Brad volunteers. She puts a target on bananas, which I like, of course. Corey volunteers, and then Josh volunteers now that CT's gone.
CT is out. I was like,
Um,
you're not slick,
I
Mr.
mean, but
Martinez.
Mr. Martinez doesn't have a good shot against any of these men. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be another nail in competition. Um,
Or something height, really. He's very tall.
yeah. Um, he's very uncoordinated. They call his nickname is the Goof. That's what CT called him, and then people started calling him that, the Goof. Um, Nehemiah. Nehemiah puts targets on Rachel. No, Rachel is the only woman from her one, so she gets the target automatically.
I was gonna
Um,
ask, like, could he have put a target on Tina?
that I don't know. Oh no, he
Yeah.
can't. He can't. He CJ mentioned that in the first. Tina won. Tina won the elimination.
Oh, so she can't. But if
She
she
can't.
was the only woman left on a team,
Yeah,
would
then she would have to go, but that would be like a special.
okay,
That would
okay,
be more
gotcha,
special than this one where there's only one other woman.
gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
Laurel, he puts a target on for team cohesion. I wish he hadn't given the speech. Just throw the target and move on. Um, John doesn't volunteer, but gets betrayed by Nehemiah. And then he throws a target on Jenny, which is the only one that I really had issue with. Because I was just like, throw Michelle in, or Casey. But like Michelle hasn't even, like, every other woman except for Rachel, right? But Rachel just got a target. But like every other woman that's remaining in the competition has either been a target to go
Hmm.
in or has actually been in an elimination round and
Hmm.
has been at risk.
Yeah,
So
I feel like we don't see anything from Casey.
yeah,
Like
that's kind of
Casey's just like flying under the radar right
well. That's what
now.
Case.
But
That's typically what goes on with Casey. Casey's a very good competitor. She usually flies under the radar in other seasons because the other women are scared to go up against her in an elimination round because
oh,
she's a tough beat. She typically does a lot more winning than what we've seen here as well too. Like she wins dailies regularly. Um, but yeah, she this is what she does. She lays low. She's been to the finals on every season that she's been on. She
oh,
lays low. If she does for some reason end up going in, she handles her own. I believe. Uh, I think Ride or Dies is her only elimination from a season. And she was with like her brother who was just like some accountant from wherever they from. I don't know, but like I feel like Casey, you could have chose. Never mind. I'm not even going to do too much on her brother. Her partner just her partner failed her is what I'm gonna say.
fair enough. Yes.
um, but yeah, she's good. She's made it to she's other than that Ride or Die season where she got eliminated, she's made it to three finals and has one win. So 3 seasons, 3 finals, one win. And then she made it to the finals on the World Championships as well too, and lost. Um, but she should have been eliminated on that. I ain't gonna lie, but it don't matter. Yeah, we probably won't see a lot from her. I think she's one of those people that will fare well in like many eliminations. Her weakness is math. So any like math, any puzzles that includes like I'm like any puzzles really, but like worse for puzzles that include like mathematics. But anything else, like she has a good shot
Like due to a condition or just
to due to being a meathead. I mean, look at Casey. Does Casey look like she be doing math? Like she.
crazy. That's crazy of you to say. Usually I'm the one saying crazy things, but I feel like this was a crazy thing for you to
Like,
say.
come on, like, look at Casey. Does Casey look like a young lady that be like,
A young lady. Please do not call this math lesbian a young lady. It's giving grandma at church.
no, seriously, like,
Oh my God.
yeah, Casey, yeah, she's alright. She's like she
Yeah.
yeah, she's mean in the hall brawl, so if we get her, I hope she doesn't get a hall brawl. I hope we actually see her in something that challenges her skills. Um
Do we do multiple, like, is every week a different type of elimination?
yeah, typically.
Like,
I'm
and they don't
saying it's
repeat.
I'm saying not usually. There are seasons where that's part of like the theme where there'll be like an elimination wheel, so it's like six eliminations per and you just play through those or four, right? And you roll a dice and you
Okay.
play through one of those.
Because we already
Um
had a whole brawl.
yes, but usually if we don't if we just kind of go through each elimination is different.
Okay.
Like there's a new elimination each night. Um
Okay.
I actually prefer because I want just the bangers and the heavy hitters. Like and when I say heavy hitters, I don't even just mean the physical competitions entirely. Like I think we've had some good like puzzle games or just stuff that's like more endurance based. Like that elimination that Jordan played against that young Irishman on God, what is that elimination called? On that season, what is that darn
You know, you're
elimination
saying
called?
things I don't know.
Karen? Yes, Karen. I think that was his name. Jordan played an let me pull it up. Jordan played an elimination in Battle of for a New Champion. He came in as a mercenary and he played against a young lad, a wee young lad.
A young lad, yeah.
Um,
From the gorgeous and proud nation of Ireland.
called Karen Stott.
Oh Lord, yeah, you
Um,
did that.
yeah, I tried. And it was called King of the Hills, and it was so fun. It was basically like two slopes on either side of the arena,
Mm-hmm.
and randomly there I think there would be like a light that would light up on one of them, so you didn't know where, and then you'd
Mm-hmm.
have to race and like hit the light first.
Oh.
Before your opponent, he dominated that kid. It was so crazy.
Oh, Jordan. Mm.
um, but and he dominated and humiliated him too. Like he was like taunting him and like clowning him as well too. It's fun.
Damn.
It was fun. It was lovely. I loved it. Um, anything else, Maddie, from you? I didn't pay attention to the preview, so I don't have any comments on that.
I don't really think I paid attention to the preview either, so no.
All right.
I just
So
want Laurel to go away, that's all.
yeah, I hope she goes home next week. Let me see who can take her home. Jenny can probably send her home. Rachel can send her home. Johnny could send her home too. So we'll see.
God, I hope so. I'm so sick and tired of looking at her.
All right, take us out. Take us out.
Well, y'all, that was another episode of the Reality Roundup. Remember to like, comment, subscribe,
Mhm.
so that you can help a struggling podcast get off the ground and pay some of our bills.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.